Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man!
All right, episode 28 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Torrey from New Duds in Vermont. Let's go!
Shirt show!
All right.
Yo.
Hey. Here I am. You guys left me with it. It's like sitting in anticipation. Just the screen was like, the host will let you in soon.
We do that on purpose.
Yeah. We're just like spinning in my chair.
Yeah.
That is a sick background.
You said a good background. So
It's the best background you could have had, I think.
well, thank you. Thank you.
Who made the art on the wall?
His name is Max Hodgson. I met him through doing can art for foam brewers. Yeah,
Awesome.
He's sick. He came in and did it like 4 hours.
I need to get somebody to do something here because all my walls are white.
Yeah. Ours worked well. So I had my landlord paint the whole shop white. And I was like, I got to get some murals in here once we get moved in.
It's a perfect place for it too.
Yeah.
How long did it take him to paint every gallon of ink there?
Well, it was like, a couple minutes per paint, but
All right. Well, we stop calling him paint. It's
all right. It's ink, not paint.
Oh yeah, so that's ink that's on the wall. I get it.
All right.
Ink on the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
So what's going on, man?
Not much. I'm like so pumped to be here.
That's good.
Like as soon as you guys started doing this, I was like,
Check out my sweet sweatshirt I got on.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And did you get a package today? You check?
I got one Friday. No, maybe it was
Friday.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Fresh
was
shirt.
supposed to get one for both of you, but Andy doesn't come until Monday. So
Yeah. He's a piece
What-
of shit. He doesn't need it.
What sweatshirt is that? I don't know.
It's my Squeegee Burger sweatshirt.
yeah, it's mine.
Check this shit out.
Squeegee Burger.
Oh, nice.
Squeegee Burger Bros.
Yeah, fill it up.
Oh,
there
hell
it is.
yeah. There it is.
I just knew what all the hype was about.
Yeah. He takes one sip. He's like,
Oh, that's terrible. Yep.
Yeah, the
yeah,
one day you didn't bring
I know I ran out and all I have is this
Here, I got a second one. Here.
delicious polar. Thanks. Dude, we should edit that to where I actually grab and then I have one in my hands.
Pull it out, yeah. Yep.
So what is
Well, you
Squeegee
guys-
Burger? Tell us about
Oh,
that.
it's like my little side thing. I don't know. I've been like doing my own line of stuff through New Duds for, since we started. And it was just got to a point where it was like, it felt like old art. Didn't really feel like me anymore. So I just started like a new thing called Squeegee Burger. It just allows me to draw weird art.
Is it going good?
Yeah, it's going all right. I mean, I have like 300 followers on Instagram. So I get about,
Well, you
300
tell
followers
everybody
worth of
to
sales.
stop following you.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly a secret. So
Yeah. Well, that's good. Do you guys have like multiple clothing-ish lines or like you have like a Vermont thing, don't you?
yeah. So that's kind of like what New Duds started as, just like our own line of stuff. And it was like pretty Vermont based because I came from like kind of like that corporate resort wear background.
Oh, really?
So like, well, I can like make better shirts than those. They're all, just like a dancing moose or something. So we started that way. And then I have a Squeegee Burger now. And then me and some of my staff started the off-reg thing.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you about that. What made you want to do that one?
Just like I felt like a little bit of a need for it. Like we always have all these like printmaking jokes, and we all come from print. Like almost my entire staff has a printmaking background from school. So we're like, well, let's try it. And we figured if we back it up with like a little bit of like a scholarship fund for future printmakers, it'd be like a good cause as well.
Yeah. Now, what is that? What does the funding go to? Like, what is there an organization for it?
So we're eventually going to have it so you can like apply for a scholarship and like use it for any kind of printmaking you want for like a class or, if you want to like run a posters made, whatever you want to do with it. But we got to build up some funds first, and it's been going pretty well so far. So
Yeah.
we're pretty nice.
Hey, Dylan, back to that sweatshirt real quick. I'm pretty sure, is that vintage white?
No, it's not. It's like ash or a heather. I would not
think
wear
it's-
vintage
yeah.
white.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
look,
the IND
vintage.
5000P. I think it's athletic heather through
Yeah,
independent.
see, wouldn't do that. I like
Yeah,
how
it
the
doesn't-
front's embroidered.
Yeah, that's a huge stitch count.
Yeah, and it's not like so big either that like a lot of people get embroidery and it curls
Yeah,
or it's weird.
Puckers.
It's like it's just solid.
Pucker, yeah.
What's going to happen? It's going to be one of those things where I'm going to be in a crowd or something, and somebody's going to like pop a round off, and this embroidery is going to stop the bullet and deflect it.
Dude. Deflect it. It's going to bounce right off.
Yeah. So I guess give us some background. You said you guys all started from a printmaking background, or you were doing, what was it, outerwear or something?
Well, they called it like resort wear, but I'll go a little bit further back. So
go further back.
I started at school as a business major. I got like one semester deep at University of Vermont. I was like, this fucking sucks. I hate this. So I switched to art and did that for a little while. Like did other forms of printmaking, and then my last semester, my senior year, I took a screen printing class, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Because I like did a lot of like illustration, back then. So it was a cool way to like take it and make like a bunch of them real quick, and then just like either give them out or sell them or whatever.
Is it just me and you, Amy, who didn't have the option to take a screen printing class in school?
Did you go to art school?
No,
it wasn't an art school, but it was a university. They should have had like some kind of print program. I feel like everybody we talked to is like, yeah, I went for screen printing and I loved it and I wanted to keep doing it. It's like, I never had anything even remotely close to that.
Well, if you went at UVM, if you weren't an art student, you couldn't take it.
Oh,
because it filled up so fast anyway.
Yeah.
But
I'll keep going. I interrupted.
Yeah, that's cool. So I was like, man, I got to do this for a living, or at least try. And I didn't really know anything about commercial or even fabric. I just had printed on paper a few times, and it was like, this is great. So there was a shop down the road that was hiring just for like a screen cleaner. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Not knowing like what I was getting myself into. And, I just like cleaned screens there for like 6 months straight. I did like a little bit of printing here and there. They had like a manual press, and they had I think they had like an old gauntlet. And I ran that like a couple times, but like really would just sit around and clean screens in this like tiny, wet, hot room. And then saw another opening for another shop up the road and got an interview at that place. And I hated the first shop I worked at. Like everyone was there kind of a dick. So I went up and interviewed at this other place and like totally was like, oh yeah, I know all about screen printing. I'm like, this will be great. I'll be fine. And he was like, all right, cool. So you got the job. And like went to the other shop the next day and like quit on the spot, and then started the next one on Monday. And like, turns out like I was like the only printer there. It was like a pretty big embroidery shop, but so it was
they were 100% relying on your printing knowledge to get them through.
Yeah. So I just like kind of tossed in, but like, I knew how to hold a squeegee and like print on paper, and like I had pretty good form and stuff. So, I picked it up pretty quick, and it was probably pretty obvious from an outsider's perspective, but it was like, whatever. So I worked there for like 2 years. And it was like pretty like I said, it was like mostly an embroidery shop. And then like I would print all day. He had like one of those like 14 color chameleons. It's like the double deckers. So it was like almost all manual. Like every now and then we'd have a big job and he'd like wheel in this like really old auto. That was like, everything was like tool cranks on. So like when I got my shop, I was like, I want an auto. This one's fucking suck. So like I just got a 6-color chameleon when I started. But so I worked there for a couple of years, and then my wife and I started New Duds in 2008.
So what does New Duds stand for?
It's just like, like clothes are like duds. It's like an old army term. I don't know. Really? It's like one of the things like I look back and I'm like, we didn't really think about it that much.
Just off the cuff.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Cool. So I started with this like little chameleon and a little brown dryer.
So you were in the business school, you said at first. Do you wish you would have, or did that semester, did that help you with any business knowledge? Or do you think that like,
no,
the way to do it is just to open the business and learn?
Well, looking back, like I wish I would have stuck with it, but then I don't know if I would have fallen into screen printing. You know what I mean? Cause like I was going to business cause I wanted to open a restaurant. Which, pretty glad I didn't do, but.
What kind of restaurant was it going to be?
I don't know. I just like cooking.
Oh, all right.
It probably would have been Squeegee Burger. It's like a burger joint.
Screen printing in one side, burgers in the other side.
Yeah.
You should just do that now. It sounds awesome.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish I kind of, cause we had to like learn so much about like how to run a business by just doing it. And that's like one thing I always tell like young art kids that are in art school is like, you should try to like minor in business, because if you're like going to art school, like you're basically going to be your own business. And if you don't know how like taxes work and accounting works and
or at least
bookkeeping works.
marketing too. I mean, that's a big one.
Yeah.
My wife,
Everything.
she has a BFA, and so she went to art school and graduated and then does her own thing, yet really, really needs marketing, like really needs to spend a lot of time on marketing, because it seems like when you're small like that and that's your side hustle or whatever, it's 80%, maybe 90% marketing and then 10% drawing,
Yeah.
And so initially anyway, until you get it rolling.
Right. Yeah. So, we learned the hard way, like for like way too many things, but.
Well, we're all definitely still learning that, like the business side and everything. Like I try to pass off as much of that stuff as humanly possible to like my accountant. I'm just like, hey, you do everything. And then when something starts going bad or wrong, tell me. But other than that, just like ask me for money once a week.
Yeah. I mean, I just hired a full-time bookkeeper last summer.
Yeah.
I had been doing my own books for like the past like 12 years.
Yeah. I never have.
But it's always like one of those scenarios. Yeah. Like where I always like hold on to this thing for like too long. I'm like, why the fuck didn't I do this like 10 years ago?
Yeah. Kind of like me with a pad and paper when it comes to me in my invoices.
Yeah. Post-it notes.
Mm-hmm. They're right in front of me.
Nice.
Right here at my
So
desk.
how do you go from starting a business with a Chameleon, you said? It was your first press, a 6-color, to having, it looked like you had 2 autos, and then now you have, is it a third, or did you replace a press?
A little bit of both. So I'm like right between them right now. We got the Sportsman EX, like a 2013. And then on that side, we had there's like a 2001 Gauntlet RS. So we technically replaced it with the Cobra, but we're looking to expand into the suite next door next year. And when I do, I just put the Gauntlet in storage behind me. So when we do that, I'm just going to wheel that back over there and run it. So like, I mean, we won't always need 3 autos all the time, but in the summertime we get so busy. It's like, I mean, I could have gotten like $5,000 for it. So like, to me, it's
Why
worth
not keep
more.
it?
Yeah. Like just run 1-color jobs or set it up as a tag press or like a onesie press or toe bag, whatever.
Yeah, I did a podcast with Acme Print, and he was saying the same thing. Like he got I don't remember what it was, like a 6-color auto or something. It was like for the price that I paid for it. I think he said he paid like $4 or $5,000 for it. He just does like sleeves on it.
Yeah.
Like put sleeve pallets on it, leaves it there all the time. And all he's got to do is when you have a sleeve job, it just automatically goes on that press. Like no taking anything down, putting anything up. It's just print on it whenever you can.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem now is I got to buy like a small dryer for it, but
yeah.
Isn't the greatest if you have the space just to have an extra press or 2 or whatever?
I would love that.
Wouldn't that be so cool if you could just, we have sleeves to print and then it's just there. It's just set up and ready.
I mean, that's kind of like the thought behind it, or like, just to do that, like cause it's like a clunky old machine. I mean, it prints great, but it's almost like 100% pneumatic. It's just got like a 120 plug in it just for like this, like the toggle switch command station.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, it's loud, and like every job you do, like depending on what your index speed is at and like how heavy your pallets are, you're like have to constantly adjust to the air pressure so it runs smooth. But like that's how I learned on an auto, basically. Like come in and like, we're doing like a job that's like a little bit slower, so you go and turn like your air pressure down a little bit.
Yeah, we had awesome. I think it was last week. We had so we have 3 presses, but we only had enough people to run 2 of them. We were short some people for a couple of days. And so what we ended up doing is there was a person that set up one, and then we were running jobs. We were running the job on it while that person was setting up like the other one, and so and those people would just walk down to the other one and run it. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's exactly what we've been doing for 2 weeks, because I usually have the 2 press operators and Randy went on vacation. So Nate's been on the Sportsman, and then what Brian ended up doing, Brian used to run the press, like used to run the Sportsman, so he knows how to run the presses and stuff. He's the guy who does our art and steps and stuff. So basically he came to me and was like, well, because I only have to do art and steps for 1 press now, I'm kind of like a little bit slower. Like I'm caught up. So he's like, why don't I go out and while Nate's printing on 1 press, I'll set up like 2 or 3 jobs on the Gauntlet. And then when he's done on the Sportsman, I'll jump over there and I'll set up a job. So Brian's been setting up every job for 2 weeks, and Nate, all he has to do is take a cart from 1 press to the next and just load and take it off. So we got rid of all that delay basically of like when a job's done, like taking it down, setting up another one, then running. He's literally just running.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, like I might try to get somebody just to do this all the time.
Yeah, there's like a setup person.
Like literally between Randy and Nate, just go back and forth. When they're done, let them take it down. And as they're taking it down, somebody's setting something up or getting inks or all that stuff.
Yeah. That's what our plan is for this coming summer. Cause that's one question I had for you guys. Do you guys run 2 printers on all your presses, or
Andy does?
Like you do?
Yeah. So you're a single operator, Dylan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what if you had though a run of like 1,000?
They grab somebody from the office.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty much anything that's like 50 pieces or more, or like maybe not even 50 pieces, 100 pieces. They just come in and like either I'm at my desk or Chris is at his desk or whatever.
Just grab an offloader.
Yeah. They're just like, hey, can you help me unload? And we go out and we pull shirts for, 15 minutes and then come back.
Yeah. But for setup and tear down, that's a way slower process,
Right. That's what I mean. He's doing it by himself. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. If I had one guy out there that just bounced back and forth between both presses and helped set up and tear down, I bet we'd get a couple more jobs done a day.
Oh,
that's our plan this summer.
More.
Yeah. I'm going to hire just like basically a production assistant in the spring to come in and like, because we're single on both of our presses, but like just to have that, because I'm always telling them like it's when you're done a job, like just focus on the next job. It'd be so nice just to have someone come in and like start tearing down that one, so you don't have to worry about it.
Right,
like that's
exactly.
like I try to get my operators to like do as little as the before and after stuff as possible. But
right. Well, you got to think their skill set is running that press and tweaking pressures and angles and everything else. Like. Yeah. They don't need to be doing the mundane, like, oh, let me put a screen in and lock the clamps in or mix inks for that job or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather them just printing jobs all day long than doing all the extra.
One great thing about having or running in press teams anyway is that usually the press assistant, they're less experienced, right? So there's a press operator, press assistant. The press assistant a lot of times comes in and starts at our shop and has never even been in a screen printing shop. And so they'll learn what it means to be a press assistant. We have this 60-day certification. It's pretty informal.
You get branded at the end of it with a
certified screen printer.
Yeah. Well, kind of pretty, as far as we're concerned, yeah. Well, I should say certified press assistant because they're not really a screen printer. Like they couldn't walk over to a manual and pull a squeegee, and they couldn't really run the press, but they're getting close because what I'll find is and there's an incentive, like there's a compensation adjustment increase, and there's motivation to learn to become a press assistant. Like a certified press assistant. And so I wrote, there's about 10 questions that we go over and we talk about, and we go through these things. This last time I did it with our production coordinator and a press operator that he was working with, and then him and then myself. And so we just went through these list of questions, things that I thought were important. And then at the end, you're certified. And then after that, even a little bit during, but after that, it's kind of a really good time to review like how they're doing also, but also say, okay, well, at this point, it's time for you to start setting up one colors. So with the tri-sync, he's already pulling the board off and, on and off, and he already understands like what the whole process there. He's witnessed it for 60 days, So now you do it, like you set up a one color and then just go from there. And so what happens most of the time is that person becomes a press operator, or let's say the press operator that he or she is working with is out. Well, I mean, all of a sudden that's when they move into that spot and say, okay, so can you set up this job?
Slide in.
Yep. Yep.
Well, that would have been huge for me is if I had done that this summer and got that press assistant, because if the exact scenario I fell into where we're super busy still and Randy left on vacation, I would have had somebody here already that was shadowing him all summer that could have just ran the press while he was gone.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that. The only reason why I agreed to him going is because normally December is like slow as fuck. So I would have been like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like we'll just run one press and be totally fine. But it's like, we're still in like summer mode right now.
So December's not usually busy for you, huh?
No,
that's
pretty much from like November, like Thanksgiving to end of February. It's like our slow season.
We don't really usually like mid-January is when we kind of like start to drop off, but usually like by Thanksgiving, we're like booked through Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like people like either wanting to spend money before the end of the year or like we work with like a lot of like breweries and stuff who like want that last little bit of merch to try to sell, especially this year, like, cause like they're selling so much less either food or beer or whatever that they just want to try to get some merch in.
What's most of your niche market? Is it breweries and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, definitely like that's like the biggest workload for us. And it's just, I think it was, just kind of on accident. But
I didn't know Vermont is known for beer or for breweries.
Yeah, I don't know if we still do, but I know at one point we had like the most breweries per capita.
That's awesome.
So it's kind of a nice.
Well, that's because not very many people live there. Maybe that's
it's like it was like 12 people and 12 breweries. So they keep us going pretty well. So I mean that was kind of a tough part about this year too, though. It's like a lot of them, shut down. But they once we kind of summer rolled around, things started getting better, and they figured out better ways to sell things or different ways to sell things. So
do you print for resorts also?
No, surprisingly, no. I've done a little bit here and there, but the one I did stuff for, they were just kind of a pain in the ass to work with.
I've noticed that too. We have a couple that are near us that basically, I feel like they're just, somebody's job there is to just hunt down the lowest possible price.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm going to get a gold star if I find a printer that'll do this for like bottom of the barrel pricing. And it's like,
yeah, but then you got to find a new one every year because the quality sucks.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I'm not even going to bother with this or bid or anything. I don't bid on anything. It's like, if you don't want to work with me, then don't work with me.
Yeah. I will like very rarely bid on something, but usually like I don't like try to just go in just to get a job. Yeah. A lot of time like this, like the state jobs every now and then, like they have to get like 6 bids or 5 bids or something like that. So I'll just throw a price out real quick knowing I'm probably not going to get it. But
I feel like we've had a couple of those where somebody comes to us, but they're like already know me or already like want to work with us. They're like, well, no matter what happens, I'm going to get it through you, but I got to go out and get like 5 other pieces of paper that say that I like got quotes.
Yeah. That's when you just have to like start like 4 other like pretend screen printing businesses.
Yeah.
So you can outbid yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you about your ink wall is that all in order by Pantone?
Yes.
See, I do the exact same thing, and I actually yesterday, no joke, like cleaned and organized my ink area because we're switching everything over to the Monarch stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had on one table like a bunch of cups that just I couldn't put on the shelf anymore because I ran out of space. Wow. And if I do. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, this sucks because I don't want to move 1,000 cups to add those other cups back in.
Yeah.
We talked to, I think 2 different episodes where I think King Screen is the one that kind of came up with the model, but he was saying that he just put stuff in like categories like shelf A1 or whatever, and then he knows that it's going to be there. But yeah, I wanted to ask you if you ran into that same problem. That's funny.
Yeah, well, so the goal is, so I've got that cart right there is going to get put on this winter once we slow down. So we got some more shelves made. But the goal, so what we did was we took like every Pantone we have made already, and we made a custom swatch in Illustrator. So when like people come in and they're like, I want like red, we can pull from one of like the 4 reds we already have mixed or however many reds. Right. That way we're not just like shooting out a Pantone number and then having to mix like, oh shit, we don't have, like, we have enough fucking colors in here. We're like, if you don't want one of these colors, and like, unless it's like, a corporate job where like absolutely need a Pantone mix, but we can, for the most part, push people into like, the
I feel like I should do that too, but then I always get to that point where I go out and look at the wall because I have 2 walls. I have one on like each side of the building. I look at it and I'm like, I gotta be getting close to having all the colors.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, every year they come out with another 120 options, and I'm just like, fucking stop doing it.
If you had one on each side of the building, Dylan, I think that'd be 4 walls though. No?
Each side. Well, yeah, fuck you, Andy. Hey, shut your mouth.
Hey, speaking of King Screen, check this out. Look what I got.
Nice. They're the bucket scoops.
Bucket scoops? Yeah. Why is it rounded on the bottom though?
Yeah, because it's a 5-gallon bucket scoop, so it fits perfectly up against the side of a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, so you scoop, so for like if ours right now are square or flat edged, I should say. And so when you go to scoop, you can't get into the bucket. But check that out.
The problem I have with those, and I have a metal one, is I wish the handle was bent up. Because when you go to stick your hand in the bucket, you're getting your hand so close to the outside edge on the other side. Yeah.
Okay.
So I wish I had it to where it was like a 45 to where I could get that part flat against the side of the bucket and then my arm was up.
I've been looking for that one patent to make so I can just retire. I think
there it is. Yeah,
there it is.
I'll give it to you. I don't even give a shit.
All right.
See that picture of that guy's hand? It's clean.
Yeah, look how close it is.
Yeah, he's got it at the top.
Yeah, but that was like his
scoops
first
the bucket at the
scoop,
top.
too.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He was like, all right, here's just for the photo shoot. But
right,
like as soon as the photo took,
I'm not using it.
Yeah, get out of here.
All of those just chipped and cracked in half. Totally useless.
Yeah.
No, shout out to
hey,
King's
that reminds me too. You just held up that shirt show mug.
Yeah.
And you were like, why, you cheap ass? Why didn't you get it printed on both sides? You know who printed it on both sides? This guy.
Yeah, both sides. So no matter which handed you are.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not even about cheapness. Like it's literally the same cost to get two sides versus one.
There you go. See,
literally that shirt show mug was the first mug I've ever ordered in my life.
Well, here, I'm not going to complain because it's a great mug. Like I love it. It's really, it's one of my
nicer
favorites.
If you didn't have to be left-handed in order to show off what it said on it.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. So
you just like drink it like this instead.
Next time.
Exactly. When we do this and I want to use the mug, I have to hold it on the other side.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's a great mug, Dylan. I like it.
Hey, thanks. Yeah. Well, you'll be getting one. We'll send you one. Don't worry about it.
All right. Yeah, I'll look for that.
And then everybody who looks at you will just be like, "Oh, I like your black mug."
Thank you.
Because you won't see it.
It's a perfectly normal black mug. No big deal. Don't worry about it.
So I saw you have machine number 14.
Yeah.
It's installed, it's running, it's up and going.
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah. It's awesome. It's amazing. We are actually had a floor model G3 lined up in March and then COVID hit. And I was like one paper away from signing it. And I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. So maybe I won't get that. Which I'm kind of glad I did because between like March and April, we lost like half our income. We had to shut down and stuff. So I pulled out of that and the Cobra.
Yeah.
12.
Okay.
Yep. So I pulled out of that.
Same one you have, right?
Yeah. And so it's a 20 by 20, 12 color?
No, I got 16, 18. Yep. I don't know. I guess, maybe we would do more bigger if we had the bigger size, but I rarely print over 14 inches.
Yeah. If I had to choose, I would choose 16, 18. Plus it's a smaller footprint and everything, but.
What do you mean choose? You didn't get to choose?
I didn't get to choose. They just
forced it on me.
I want to buy one of those.
Beta, so they just sent him one.
Right. Oh yeah. Wasn't it the Rebel when you got it though?
Yeah. Well, when I first got it, it was the Sportsman EV.
What was the Rebel one? I remember seeing that on your Instagram.
It's the same thing. They just changed the name to a Rebel, and then they realized that was probably not a good idea, and then they changed it again
to Cobra.
Yeah, I have the. Hold on, this is pretty cool.
I got my Cobra hanging out with me here,
dude. When I saw that, I was like, "Hell yeah, that is so good." It's
funny because when I bought the Cobra, I was like, man, I got to get because I used to watch G.I. Joe when I was a kid. I was like, I got to get Cobra Commander action figure to go up on there.
These days,
who painted the smock it's wearing?
My shipping manager. So I got it in, and he was holding this wand, and or staff or whatever. And I was like, oh, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we took that out and put a squeegee in his hand instead? He's like, oh yeah, I think I can do that with my 3D printer. So I brought it home, and then a couple days later, he's like, so can I do some other things to it? I was like, yeah, I don't know, whatever you want to do, man. And he a couple days later, he sent me a picture. I was like, holy fucking shit, man, this thing's awesome.
It is super awesome.
It's I like how it's blowing in the wind and everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just draped on. It actually tailored and fits him.
Yeah, I know, it's so tight. But it's just a brown napkin that he just painted.
So good.
Good ornament. Yeah, it's good stuff. There it is. The Rebel.
Yep.
Just like Andy.
Still got it. I was going to frame it.
You should have left it on the press.
You swap it back in.
No. Couldn't do it. But what's your favorite thing about it so far?
The no rise platens. That's just, and it's so quiet.
I know it's crazy.
I don't run it that much myself. But like I came out here the other day and I was like, why aren't those fuckers printing? But I came out, I was like, oh, they are printing. But yeah, so like the no rise table is like amazing,
Right.
And then, it's just like such a quiet press. We noticed that like the pressures are all like quite a bit different from our old Sportsman. So that was like a little bit of a learning curve.
I had that too between my Gauntlet and the Sportsman. Like things were different. Like even though you'd be like, oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah. We're noticing we have to go like a little bit higher on the Cobra. But Print's great. It's an amazing press. Yeah. Pumped about it.
Yeah. No, was the Gauntlet going to be the same? The 4 model, was that going to be the same 12 color and all that stuff, or was that going to be something different?
Yeah, it was going to be a 12 as well. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, we were pumped about that one, but shit happens. And
yeah,
I mean, I've never run a G3, so I don't know like how different they are, but I mean, a brand new press versus a 7-year-old versus a 19-year-old, that alone is like pretty amazing. Yeah,
your Sportsman is pretty much the same one I have, I think.
EX,
it's a 12, EX, and I think it's the same year too.
Yeah, I have a 2012, and it's probably really close. You said yours is 13?
13, yeah, it's 10 color, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to look into seeing if we could, because my the control panel, the display seems so ancient compared to like the Cobra. And I was looking in to see if we can upgrade it and get that screen.
It's still a touch screen, right?
It is, but it's I think their first their first version of it.
Yeah, it is like tiny, and like it's also like calibrated a little wrong, so it's like pushed like a little over to the right of where you want to push.
Well, and it doesn't have for us anyway. We don't have a print run screen, So like if we're in our heads, we want to adjust our flash time or whatever, we have to go to a different screen. It's just hassle. So we were looking to see if we can somehow get it updated.
Yeah,
not sure.
So tell me about your fulfillment part of the business.
Yeah, so we've kind of like started that slowly over the past couple of years. We like took on one of our breweries who like they didn't have an online store, and I was like, why aren't you guys selling stuff? Because you have a huge following. Like, well, we don't want to ship it. I was like, I'll ship it for you. Because we were shipping like our own stuff every day, because we were running a couple stores of our own. Mm-hmm. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I kind of like baited it with them for like a year, just to see how it would go. Like we handled like the customer service and everything, like returns, exchanges, everything.
Right.
So we've picked up we don't do like a ton of people. We have like probably 8 stores, but it's all like pre-print and then store here inventory. But we also ship like their glassware or like stuff that we don't make as well. So like, that's a big factor of like trying to get people along with us too. Like, well, like, are you going to ship like just the merch that you make? I was like, no, I'll ship whatever you want. Just like, let me know. Cause like I build out the contract for every different store, depending on like how many SKUs you have and how often you're selling and what kind of stuff you're shipping.
Right.
So we've kind of just built that up, and I think you just switched to ShipStation, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been using that for a while, and like everything just auto syncs in there. We have like 10 different stores in there, and I've just got a shipping and receiving. Like my wife, Tessa, she was doing it for a long time, but we just handed it off, and just every day come in, pick all the stores, pack them up.
That was
now. What are you doing? What are you doing for like the glass stuff that you're shipping? Are you just like if say a customer comes to you and they're like, I wanted to ship this, and it's like an odd sized item. Do you like do all the research yourself and find like the boxes and the packing material and everything to make sure that item gets there safely, or is that on them to figure out?
It's generally a little bit of both, but like we definitely like help them facilitate that. But we'll just for the.
I just saw you were doing beer, right?
Yeah, that's a project. So I mean, foam brewers are like one of our biggest accounts as far as the breweries go, and they just have like been hit so hard. It's like, well, let's start, because a lot of breweries around the U.S. are starting to ship now because of COVID. But you have to like go through all this licensing process, and like again, like they just didn't want to have to deal with the shipping. And I was like, well, let's do it. I'm like, if I'm not trying to start like a beer shipping empire, but like if I can help like my big clients stay in business, then it kind of solidifies, a customer going down, and like we're doing all the stuff for him. So That was like a couple months in the process, because I had to go through UPS to get alcohol shipping license, and they had to get a license for every state. So we're only shipping to 4 states right now, but every Monday. So we started last week. So we got another launch tomorrow. So they just bring in like 4 pallets of beer, and we just, so in that case, they went to a box manufacturer and we're like, this is exactly what we need. So they developed a box for them, and we just get pallets of boxes dropped off. We build them, shipping them out on Monday, and get them out the door.
That's awesome.
But it was a big undertaking that I kind of underestimated how much like labor would go into it. And Tessa's like, you should have known that. I mean, like, she's like, I'm like a big picture, like, let's fucking do this. And then she's like, well, you know, if we say yes to that, like, and rightfully so, like, we have to follow through all the logistics that go along with that.
So do you have somebody full-time in shipping that does that? Or did you move somebody from printing over there?
Yeah. Well, so in September, we hired like a main shipping and receiving guy. We had like a couple people that kind of float in that section. And like when the stores get heavy, they'll go over and do all the shipping. But we hired like one full-time person to receive all the garments and then also take care of all the shipping stuff. With this particular project, we're actually like pulling a couple of foam staff that were furloughed to just come in and help until we kind of get the process down. And then the goal is to like, I don't know if like we'll still be shipping beer in a year, but it's something that's getting them through, and it's something that we can do and make some money off it. So, I mean, I would not do it for charity.
Yeah, you're also like learning a skill on fulfillment though, too, to where if anything,
I mean, really like, it streamlines all like the logistics part of all the shipping that we're already doing, you know, like even down to like our Dymo printer, like label printer sucks. So like, let's try to find a better one that prints labels faster.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then like learning all the batch stuff. And all the automation
Tyler
rules.
can tell you which printer that is. He did a lot of research into that too. TC screen printing. We bring him up every podcast at least once.
We need to stop because he yelled at us.
Well, we'll leave him alone as far as the data stuff goes.
Let's talk about him some more. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. But for real, he knows.
What can he do for you?
He ran into the same issue with labels, trying to find one that prints faster, that can keep up, and so he I don't know which one he has, but
I think I got lucky with mine because I posted videos before to like my stories or whatever, and people are like, how does that print so fast? And I'm like, I didn't know this was fast. Like, it's just a Zebra printer. Like, I didn't know I bought like a special printer, but apparently it prints labels pretty fast.
Yeah, we've gone through quite a few, and like we've had a lot of issues with like the cheaper ones just like disconnecting like 4 times a day, and you have to like unplug it and plug it back in to get it to start going again. And actually, like the new one I just got was like $139. It's called a Rollo. Mm-hmm. And like it comes with like generic labels. The labels like 2 cents a piece. Like their whole thing is like stop buying like proprietary labels for your shipping label printer.
Yeah.
And it just like spits them out like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the Zebra one, I think it's like, I don't know, it's probably like $350 or something like that. But it was just like the first one I got, and I was like, oh, all right, this will do good. But it's just continuous. It's not slow at all. It's just like,
just keeps going.
Just like keeps printing labels.
Well, yeah, we ran into an issue with our brother one we have right now. Like we set it so it would auto cut after every label, which is cool if you're doing like 1 or 2 shipments at a time. But when you want to batch a bunch,
right?
And now we can't figure out how to get it to stop cutting. So like you batch a bunch, it's like cut, and like we tried everything. Like we like deleted the driver and everything, plugged it back in. Like, oh, I guess we're gonna have to get rid of this one.
One thing I'd like to figure out is I've got this printer, which, like I said, it seems to be fast. Like it does a really great job, but it's coming off of a roll. So when the labels come out, it's just fucking like if I print like 400 labels like on a Wednesday, it's just a roll of 400 labels in a pile on the floor. And then I sit there and I like one over one,
Mm-hmm.
like fold them up to give them to the fulfillment girl. And it's like, I wish I had that one where they come from a folded thing and then through the machine, and then they just like fold themselves over again.
Rollo, get a Rollo. Try it. Yeah. You can do both with this one. And like you can buy like any thermal direct printer label.
Nice.
I say this, but I've only been using it for like 4 days, but.
Well, hey man, that's all it takes.
But it's working.
I'll hit you up in a little while and be like, how is that thing? Is it still working good?
Throw it away.
Yes. Fucking piece of shit. Got a Zebra.
Well, that's perfect timing for you then to, you got into e-com before COVID. So you're kind of getting set up and learning it. and into fulfillment. And then it just so happens you're ready to go,
Right.
and like you can help your customers out and help your shop out too.
For a while, like in the beginning of COVID, it was like just me and Tessa coming in and just shipping stuff for people. We had a couple of shops that just like, here, take a bunch of stuff. Like they weren't really like, they were selling it in-house, but they didn't have an online store. Like just throw a couple photos on this. You just take it and ship it. So like, that's what we did for like the first like month and a half. We'd just come in and ship orders.
So you're building the web stores also?
No, generally like the client will build them. We help quite a bit. We'll go in the back end and help with inventory, and if they have questions. Like I'm no like e-commerce expert, but like I'm pretty tech savvy, so I can work my way around Squarespace and Shopify. But if they need help, we'll certainly do it. But a lot of people have someone on staff that does something like that anyway.
They're just sending you like a packing list or whatever once a week, or
yeah, so they'll just drop ship inventory, and then we'll check it in and put it back in the back end.
What are you doing in your facility for the stock? Like I know a lot of people are like, yeah, I pre-print and put it on the shelf, but like, I want to know like, how is it going on the shelf? Are you putting it in a fucking shirt box? Is it going in a special tub that you can reach in and grab? Like, what are you doing?
So we're basically making it like retail ready. So they're all flip and folded in like they're stacked by design and size. The goal next year, when we move next year, we're kind of shifting into having like a bigger like warehouse fulfillment side. Because the goal is to get to a point where the SKUs in the back end of every website will say like, shelf E bin 4. So like if you have your packing slip, it'll just spit it out and say like, go to the shelf and go to this bin number, and that's what's in there already. So if it's like something that has like the same shirt, but like there's a couple different colors, it's like dummy proof. But right now it's like a little more reading. You gotta like read the description. But I mean, because we only have like 8 stores, it's not that hard to just like go into the stock room and like find what you need. Yeah. We'll generally just do like one store at a time.
That's what I do too. Like I don't want to be one of those shops that has like a fulfillment side that's like, take anything that comes in and I have this huge like fulfillment company. It's like, I just want to do fulfillment for, same as you, like my, 10 to 20 good customers that I know sell a shitload of stuff. And I just have a department in the shop where it's just their stuff's on the shelf and they can pick from it. So I'm just trying to, we've been doing fulfillment stuff for a long time like that, but I've never like really dove into it. I've just done like the dummy way where it's just like, print stuff, leave it in a box like you would send a customer, and just like when they sell something, just like pull that shirt out of the box, fold it up.
Then you're like rifling through the boxes and stuff.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have it like organized.
You're mostly selling shirts though, because right? Unless I don't know, but you're mostly selling T-shirts. Whereas if you had a true fulfillment store and you could sell stickers and mugs and all these other things,
I'm doing that. Yeah,
you are doing that too. Okay.
But that's the thing is it's mostly printed stuff. Like it's mostly stuff that we do. But if the customer's like, hey, I want to do a mug or I want to do some stickers, I'm like, okay, cool. I just put them in another box and like I'll order them the mugs or I'll order them the stickers and then I'll just put them on the shelf with the stuff. So when it sells, I'll just grab it and put it in the bag. But like I said, I'm dealing with stuff where it's like, what's the proper way to ship a mug? You know what I mean? Like I'm bubble wrapping it and putting it in its own box and everything else. But what if they buy 2 mugs? It's like,
right. Yeah. It's like, that's the logistics side that gets hard.
Right. And then I'm having people like, it works well for a while. And then you get that one customer is like, hey, I got my 2 mugs and they smack together and like, they're both broken now.
Yeah. But that's going to happen like no matter what.
Right. Right.
Like we overpack so much stuff and like, no matter what you do. Cause like some dick is going to like throw it out their fucking truck window and then drive over it and then put it back in the truck. And like, oh,
it's that beginning to Ace Ventura when he's a UPS guy trying to get into that apartment and he's fucking kicking the box down the hallway. That's how I feel. That's how I feel like they actually handle shit, because I'm like, there's no fucking way. Like we put like regular size bubble wrap in and around this mug. And then we have like the really big bubble, like green ones that we wrap around it again. And then it goes in a box. And it's like the only way this could have broken is somebody fucking like pitched it at the wall.
But you got to get the stickers to put on it that say, don't pitch at wall.
Yeah. Please do not use this as a baseball.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the hard part is I feel like, especially now, like we probably get an email a day or more saying my package was lost by the post office. It says delivered, but it's not here, or it just says pre-shipment. And it's just like,
that's, I mean, you get, again, like the more shipping you do, the more you're gonna run into that. Like as far as like the, like it says it was delivered, but it's not here thing. Like I always make the customer do a little bit of legwork in like a really nice way.
Yeah,
like,
I do too.
Like, cause like a lot of times I'll be like, oh, go ask your neighbors. And they're like, oh yeah, my upstairs neighbor had it. And they just didn't tell me. There's like sit down their table and like, I was going to bring it down to you. I just haven't gotten down there yet. So I always like try to make them do like a little bit of something.
I had a lady call me like kind of pissy not that long ago. And she was like, it says delivered. It's not here. I don't have it, whatever. And I was like, are you sure? Like it says here that it was like dropped off by this door or whatever. She's like, all right, I'll go look. And then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. It is here. It's where they put the packages. I'm like, what do you mean it's where they put the packages? Like you just fucking told me it wasn't there.
You're like looking for a package and you don't look where the packages go.
Yeah. Like I guess her husband comes home and puts all her mail on a table, but it's like, oh, it's where like the mailman drops off.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? That's the hardest part for me is just the customer stuff, like dealing with the customer. It's just more of that. You know what I mean? Like before you're like, oh, I could make extra money shipping stuff. But now it's like you're doing that, but you're also getting customers that are like, I ordered this, but I didn't realize, I'm a lot fatter than I thought I was. So this doesn't fit. What can you do for me? And it's like, ship it back. I'll send you another one.
Yeah. So all of our, like we automated in ShipStation, you can like make a custom packing slip. So the bottom of every packing slip has like a form that you just fill out. So if it doesn't fit you, you don't want it. They just have it there already. It comes with it. And they just fill out like reason for exchange or reason for return. And then like, we don't like give them a shipping label. They just ship it back to us. So like that way, that like cut our emails in half. Because now we just get packages in the mail and it's open up. And it's like, okay, they either want this or they want their money back, one or the other.
So the customer has to pay for shipping back to you?
Yeah.
It depends on the store, but yeah, most of them. I mean, we'll get people who will reach out and be like, hey, can you like give me a label like or whatever. But like generally like the stores we do, like they all have their own like return exchange policies. And most of them are you pay for your label to go back.
Yep. Yeah, we do that too. Cause like I said, it's like, I'm not going to pay back and forth when it's an item that you just didn't read the size chart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, why do I have to pay another $6 to get your item back to me and then ship you out another one when it's just an error on your part for picking that item? I mean, if it's like an issue that we had or something was wrong with something, it's like, yeah, I'll fix it. Or you didn't get something or it was the wrong size, whatever. Yeah. I'll send you a label. Yeah. But if you're just returning something.
Yeah. I mean, we will like, if people like fight us, like we'll just, we don't like fight people on it. Like if they're like mad about it, we'll just cut a label out of ShipStation and send it over to them.
You start with them shipping. And then if it turns out that you've got to cover it, then you will. But that's how you start the whole thing. That makes sense.
Yeah. We all cave.
Yeah.
Well, you got to start somewhere though, and you can't give them everything. So you start somewhere and then you see how that works and go from there.
Yeah.
Last week we had 2 days that it was 65 degrees here in St. Louis in December. And so that's a big deal. And during that, it was like right after lunch, we've been super busy. And so we've basically been inside this building, from the time I get here to the end of the day and don't even leave. And so I made it a point, because it was just so nice. I made it a point to grab Joanne, and we walked outside and sat like at the next building over, behind that building. And we just sat there and, it was beautiful out. And so just to take a break, to walk away and like get outside the building, not just to break inside the building, but to actually walk outside and, leave here for a moment and then come back. What do you do for breaks? Do you sometimes never get a break? And do you find that if that's the case, are you grumpy or actually do you come back from just and I'm just talking like 15 minutes or 20 minutes to go outside and take that break? Do you, it seems like anyway, I come back and I'm fresh and I'm more productive, less stressed. And
I mean, and when it's nice out, like we eat lunch outside every day. But I just I get myself into like, just like nonstop working. And then next thing I know, it's like 3 p.m. and I haven't eaten and I haven't taken a break. And I'm like, oh my God, I just got to like sit down. I mean, when we're like a medium amount of busy, I can kind of like regulate my breaks and stuff, but I just tend to like kind of go until I get like queasy from not eating. But this year has been tough too, because like we used to all take a break and eat lunch together as like an entire team. And it was like a really good bonding thing. And it was a good time for everyone to just like take a break and sit back and relax. But now we stagger lunches because of like, workplace precautions. And I've gotten into like, just like sit on my computer or do whatever I'm doing all day. And I'm like, kind of forget to take a break, but I should go outside more. I should take actual breaks.
I mean, that's how a couple of weeks ago, that's how my breaks were. This is exactly how they went. Just like you said, oh, I'm hungry. I go sit at my desk and start to eat. And then I'm answering emails, as instead of like enjoying a break for a moment, my break is actually eating as fast as I can while I'm on emails. And I'm like, this isn't the way I should be doing this. This isn't a real break, this is, I need to actually walk out of here or something, and so.
I definitely like, cause like I get distracted by staff all the time, like I need to remove myself from the situation sometimes. Cause they're constantly like, I mean, in a good way, like, it's not like there's a problem, but
sure. Like my door is always open.
Yeah. Can you do this, or can you fix this, or hey, come prove this, or how does this look? Or a customer walks in, or the phone rings, or, it's like constantly.
And they don't know that you're looking to, take 5 minutes or whatever, because they don't know that that 4 other people were just in line asking you questions, and then they're gone, and then they come up, and they're the 5th person in a row. And you're like, I just need 5 minutes,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like it was really good, and so I was just curious how you handled. You make yourself break, like a mandatory break, or and force yourself to do it. Because I think
you gotta set an alarm. Yeah.
I really do think, right? Like have an alarm go off and it's like, sorry, that's it. I mean, if you don't, because if you don't, you'll all of a sudden you'll find yourself it's 3:00 and you're like, holy shit, it's 3:00. And like you said, I haven't taken a piss in 4 hours and I'm hungry. And
yeah, I'm always like, oh man, I haven't drank any water today. Like mouth is so dry. I've been talking nonstop. But yeah, good point.
Dylan doesn't understand this sort of taking a break thing.
My entire day's a break. Yeah, fuck that. I'm just like, we generally take lunch at noon. Like everybody here kind of like finishes up what they're doing or whatever around noon, and then we take lunch for like a half hour to an hour. Most of the time it's an hour, and like most of us go get lunch somewhere, come back to the shop, and we literally sit down together and watch YouTube videos. It's usually like, sciencey videos that we like Colin Furze or, Smarter Every Day or something like that. And then we watch like Fail Army videos for a while. So people getting hit in the nuts. And then, we just fuck around and watch funny videos for an hour. And then when that's done, we're all,
for an hour.
Mine was clear. Yeah. We take lunch for an hour.
Okay. Well,
and then we go back to work and everybody's got the second half of the day to go back to what they were doing.
All jazzed up and ready to go.
That sounds really healthy.
It's nice.
I like it. I think that's the way it should be. I don't know about YouTube videos for an hour, but I think that a break to grab something to eat and maybe sleep or, take a nap, like
a quick nap, a little siesta. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like you're with your guys and you're doing something the first half of the day and everybody's busy or in the mode and they're not talking and they're just standing next to each other printing or something because they're in the work mode. It's nice to just have that like stop. Okay, let's go get whatever we're going to eat for lunch, sit down, laugh together, or like pick stuff up or, whatever in the videos. And it's like talk about interesting stuff. Like me and Brian will get into escalation pretty hard where we'll start off with one concept. And then by the end, like, aliens live on your skin or some shit. And then, it's like, okay, it's almost 1:00. Let's like wrap this up and go back out to printing. And then you can always tell like when everybody's back to work too, because all of a sudden the fucking receiver kicks on and music's super loud and everybody's back into like, all right, let's do the second half of the day. So it's just nice to like cut it in half and be like, let's do it again.
Yeah.
It's a nice reset.
Yeah, I noticed that your shops, neither of you guys have to wear like masks in your shops. Is that like a state thing or is that like a comfort level thing or like just kind of curious from seeing that on social media?
Well, I feel like for us, it's more of like we're in a small town and everybody that works here just basically goes from work to home to work to home and we see each other every day. So, And I don't really ever get walk-ins, like once in a while. And the walk-ins come with a mask and we'll like put a mask on. But I think generally just like the day-to-day, seeing the same people for, whatever, we're not really masking up. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but we just, all of us kind of looked at each other and we're like, I'm not wearing a fucking mask all day.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we've been masked for months at the front for any, at our retail, at the counter. There's in the production, we're masking up now. However, there's a few exceptions. So there's the one press on the 8 color, both of those guys have had COVID. And so they kind of knew it. They put a mask on when they're leaving, but when they're at the press and they're isolated sort of by them at that press, they're not wearing a mask on unless somebody approaches them with a question or whatever, then they have it with them.
I think for me in the beginning, it was just kind of like, we're all in this together. Like I didn't make a boss decision and I was like, we're not wearing masks or we're going to wear a mask. I just pretty much asked everybody, like, what do you want to do? Yeah. And I think everybody was just like, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with it. Like I said, we all know each other here. We all know our like kind of lifestyle after work. And we're all just, it's not like one of us is going clubbing every night and then coming in. Then it would be like, all right, stay the fuck away from me. Put a mask on.
What do you think about companies having a mandatory vaccination policy? Have you heard of some, talk about that?
I haven't heard of that. I mean, I'm sure it exists, but
will exist.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know. I mean, I feel like my staff have already been like, I'm going to get vaccinated as soon as I can. I don't know how I feel about making someone do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like with this whole thing is it's all like choice. It's like, what do you want to do? I don't think I would make anybody get a vaccine. I don't even know if I want a fucking vaccine. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, they're putting chips in it. I'm just like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, dude, they fucking rushed that shit. They made them vaccines super fast. It's what's going to happen is we're all going to take a vaccine and that's going to be 28 days later. We're all fucking zombies and rage monkeys and shit.
Yeah. Well, so we have a mask mandate in Vermont and it's like super rare to like see someone not wearing a mask.
Yeah. Well, we have the same thing like outside of the shop. Like my shop, there's only 10 of us here. So like it's a small group of people. Like if I had like 50 employees, I'd be like, yeah, we probably should be all wearing masks. But like if I go to the pizza place down the road to get lunch, everybody's got a mask on. If I go in an ATM to get money out, I have a mask on. Post office, everything, everywhere you go outside of here, you have to have a mask on, which I'm totally fine with. But if I'm sitting in my own like office, that's like my home basically is how it feels. It's like, I'm not wearing a mask in here all day long.
I would make my employees just wear clear plastic bags over themselves.
Right. And tied on around their neck.
Yeah. Yeah. And that way it's not on your face.
Yeah. But I don't know how I feel about the whole thing. It's all weird. I'm probably don't have the right answers, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm just letting everybody here choose what they want to do, and nobody's offended by anybody else's choice. So it works out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. What do you guys, this is a question, it's not really for you, but for all of us, I guess, like, what do you guys do for like employee benefits? Do you have benefits? Do you have any paid time off? Do you have like a certain set of like, this person has to work here for a year before they get X amount of paid days off, all that stuff? I want to hear both of your,
we, after 6 months, you're eligible for retirement contributions. So we do a match for that. So like we match up to a certain percent and then you can put in whatever you want after that. And then I give everyone 4 weeks PTO. But you have like 2 of those weeks are allocated to like major holidays and the other 2 weeks you can use for whatever you want. And then we have like snacks and like we stock the fridge with drinks and stuff. And, we're currently looking into health insurance, but shit's so expensive.
Yeah.
In Vermont too, like the exchange is like, they have pretty good, like payments for people. So like it's cheaper for them to just go through the exchange than it is for us. Cause as soon as we offer it, like they now have to get like full price health insurance.
Mhm.
So like even if we can, we offer X amount of dollars, but then you have to cover the rest. But like generally like what we can offer versus what the state exchange can offer right now is better.
That's pretty much what happened to us. Is I looked into health insurance at one point, and it was going to be like stupid expensive for me to do. And then the lady that was talking to me about it was just like, well, what do your current employees get now? Like, do they have, like some of them have spouses that they're on their insurance because they work for the school or whatever else. And it's like almost everybody here qualified for either like, Medicare or Medicaid or whatever, or they got it through a spouse or whatever. And it was like, nobody here really needed it. You know what I mean? Like maybe one or two, but it was like, it's not worth me getting shop-wide health insurance because I would have just been paying for it when they could have got it for nothing.
Yeah. I think at a certain point, like when we get maybe like 5 or 6 more people, assuming we get to that point, you start getting like better bulk, like group rates, but like not until you have like a certain number of employees.
Right.
So it's kind of shitty that we can't do it, but like at the same time, like, we try to just be like as flexible as we can with everything else. And, so I don't know. What about you?
That's how I feel too. Like, I feel like I would do anything for anybody here if they ever needed anything or whatever. Like I try to give them as much, it's weird to say benefits, but like whatever you need, dude, like
unlimited Pringles.
Yeah. Unlimited Pringles. Like you want a couple of Pringles? I'll give you some stacks.
Some stacks.
But what do you do, Andy?
Pretty similar. So we have, there's 6 holidays that are paid, and then I have 2 weeks PTO. So it's more like, I guess it's about 3 weeks, not 4, in total.
Does every employee get that, or is that at a certain time?
Yeah, everyone does. But let's say if you're a new hire though, your first year, you have to accrue it. So like you don't instantly get, it's not like on Step Brothers when they got 2 weeks vacation and they said they wanted to use that up front and they're going to start 2 weeks later, which is a great move. But, so you have to accrue it. And so the first year you're accruing it at the way I do it, your first year is you get 1 hour per, how do I do it? Per week. Yeah. So if there's 52 weeks, you get 52 hours.
40 hour. Yeah. Okay.
You actually get a little more than a week your first year. Your first year is the only year you don't get as much, because it's hard to calculate. You just start, and plus I don't know if you're going to last, and so you start working here.
Well, that's why I would say like after your first year, you get on January 1st or whatever.
So we did. Yeah, it's all awarded on it's actually January 2nd because, that's one of the paid holidays is New Year's Day. And so we do it on January 2nd. So like, let's say you started in, with 10 weeks left in the year. Well, you'd get 10 hours because you worked 10 weeks. And so it's just really easy to calculate. For me anyway, it was just super easy to calculate, and I just plug it into ADP and there it is. And then from then on, it's way easier. And plus, you should you get, all of that PTO just, for being there for 10 weeks. I think there was an occasion, I remember maybe 1 or 2 times in our negotiations for hiring somebody, then I gave them a week just right out of the gate. But generally that's how it works. And then we do have group health with Anthem Blue Cross. And we've had that for maybe 6 or 7 at least years. And I thought that was really important because, we had enough people for it to make sense. There weren't, I understand when you have maybe a smaller group or your group happens to have insurance through your spouse, just like you said. But there were enough people where I think I ran into a spot where I wasn't retaining, that's such a huge thing. If you can have insurance, at a company, that's a huge, and it's good. Like it's not shitty insurance, like it's a quality insurance.
Well, I've ran into that a couple times where like you're ready to hire somebody for something and they're like, oh, what kind of benefits and insurance do you have? And I'm like, I ain't got that. I don't have any of that shit. You get paid like when you work here. Like,
yeah, but do they?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Those people didn't come here. They were like, yeah, you know what I mean?
They said no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really important. And, it's expensive. I mean, we always cover more than half just so I'm, it comes every 2 weeks. We pay biweekly and every 2 weeks it's $75. I mean, that's a fucking great deal. So, and if they want their spouse on it, then we can't cover that.
It's $75 per employee.
Yeah. It just, and what's nice about that, and how you can like you were saying, you were comparing it to the exchange in Vermont. I guess the benefit of having insurance at your business or at the company is that it's pre-tax, and so
right. That's
that $75 or so every month, it's $150 a month. That $150 is taken out before taxes. It's just there's savings there.
It's only $150 a month.
Yeah, to work here, if you want insurance, it's $150.
What?
Yeah.
I think the problem is like, I don't mean Vermont.
$150 for the employee, not for Shirkong pays the other half or sometimes more.
Yeah, but
what I mean?
But like our plans at like full price, because there's like no competition here. So like there's 2 health insurance companies. So like the plans start at like $400 to $500. It's like you can't like that's such a cheap plan. Just maybe you have like more options.
Andy batted at his eyes.
I don't know. I mean, Missouri, we have every time I have. I don't know if she's licensed or what it takes, but I can give you my contact.
I would love that Andy's not actually paying for insurance. He's just paying some lady.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's some cards. Number on them.
Luckily, nobody's had to use it yet.
Yeah, we haven't had to use it yet.
They find out if they break their leg, they have to go to Wanda's house to get fucking fixed up.
Yeah, there's one nurse in the exchange there.
Yeah, it's like that mob boss doctor who will just fix you up in an alley real quick, so you don't have to go to the hospital. That's what Andy has.
That's a good plan.
It's better than my plan. I don't have anybody, so if they break something, they're fucked.
Yeah.
Well, what do they? I guess they have something. Otherwise, they're getting.
Yeah, they have their own insurance. I'm just saying that, like, that's something that I want to get better at. I want to get better at more stuff, more benefits for the employees and stuff. It's not something I've not done because I was like, well, fuck them. It's like, I just haven't done it because it didn't make sense at the time. And now it's starting to make sense. So
I'll be honest. I mean,
I want to do more and more.
It's work, like I'm the admin on it. I had help a few years ago. There was somebody here that, shared that some of the workload with it. I mean, it's not too bad, but there are things that come along where, you have to keep your shit together.
Yeah.
And so it's work, but it's also, just like you said, if you're hiring somebody and you're offering insurance, it might be the reason why they choose your shop over maybe a different job, or it's a reason why somebody wants to stay.
Yeah. I mean, the bigger we get, I'm sure we're going to run into those kinds of things too. And like my goal with this company is to like be a job creator. Like I love screen printing. So like my life passion, but like, I also want to like be able to offer jobs that are like fun and like you can actually live off and you can like buy a house with, like I don't want to just be like, just come in here, work real quick. Yeah, it'll be fine. Like, here's some money. Like I want like my staff, if they want to be like, I want this to be a career for them.
What I love is when I see in our parking lot, a car with like in transit, like somebody gets a new car and they've got plates on the temporary plates. It's awesome. Like it makes me feel good. It's like, hey, they work here and they can afford to go buy a new car.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you're exactly right. You want people that are working for you to make a living wage or better, not struggling. I get it that there's times where things happen in people's lives that, it's tough, but you don't want them to be paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
In other words.
Yep.
As I said, I just want to make sure everybody's taken care of. It sucks to see somebody not doing well. So I was just curious, I want to figure that shit out. So
yeah,
I laugh every time.
You guys do any kind of like bump bonuses or anything?
Dylan?
Do you, Andy? Do you do bonuses?
So I occasionally do. It's never like, at the end of the year, let's figure out a bonus. Maybe I did that a couple of times, but I do it when somebody does, goes beyond expectations, let's say.
That's usually what I do too. It's like if you can tell they're putting in extra time or they went above and beyond the daily 9 to 5, I'll do something like that. Or like I said, I'll try to do something like Christmas time or whatever and just be like, everybody gets X or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do that, but I also don't do it very much. And I think it's because I would rather give them like a permanent compensation adjustment instead of, hey, here's a bonus of whatever it is. I think that's forgotten. I mean, maybe they remember, oh, I remember one time you gave me, $400 or whatever it is, but you don't forget the fact that what you make every, when you get that pay stub, every time what you're making.
What they don't forget is when you get them like a Taco Bell party pack. And you're like,
like Crunchwrap Supreme.
Right. Be like, hey man, anything you want off the menu, I'll get for you.
Under $5.
Yeah. Don't go crazy.
I mean, geez,
expect it every time.
Cut it back. It's like that.
Taco Bell Express only.
Yeah, exactly. So what all do you guys offer at New Duds? Like obviously screen printing, but you do embroidery and like stuff that you do in-house, I guess.
Yep. Screen printing, heat pressing. It's a big one. Embroidery, fulfillment, obviously. And then we also do flat stock printing.
Do you do a lot of flat stock or?
Not nearly as much as like shirts, but like we've got, a handful of clients who keep the press running pretty well. And it's just kind of like, because we were all our school kids, it's kind of like the passion side of it.
Right.
It's like a pretty different medium, but it's fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we do like a fair amount of gig posters and stuff.
Do you just do a lot of word of mouth stuff for marketing or do you try
almost 100% of word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Instagram is like the only thing I do.
Uh-huh. Do you get a good amount of work from it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we have on our form submission page on our website, like the very last question is like, how do you hear about us?
Right.
And it's most of the time it's either a friend, Instagram, or a Google search.
Yeah. What do you do for fun when you're not printing?
I run.
When you're not at work.
Yeah. I run. I run. That's like for fun and for stress relief. I got 2 kids, so it's pretty much like work and then go home, hang out with them.
How old are your kids?
8 and 6. Yeah.
I have a 8 and 10.
8 and 10. Yeah.
So I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah. They keep me like pretty bit. Especially with like this whole pandemic thing, it's like, we can't like do that much. So it's go to work and then go home and hang out with the family and then go to work and then go home and hang out with the family, try to exercise and eat well and not go crazy. Yeah.
Did you get your kids anything crazy for Christmas?
No, nothing too crazy. Like they always have a wish list and we try to as long as it's
you
not
burn it in front of them and then give them like,
there's no fucking, well, I can say that on here. So they might watch us. Yeah. We let them mail in their Christmas list.
Somebody here has this thing where they give their kids 3 gifts. One is new, one is repurposed, and one they made. That's it. 3.
Yeah. That's good.
I think so too. I like it. I wouldn't have liked that as a kid. As a kid, I would have protested.
Yeah.
But as a parent, and I think it's pretty good. Like most presents that kids get, my kid when I at that age, if I were to get him like a nice, went to Toys R Us and we got this $100 whatever thing that you put together, he played with it for probably an hour.
And then they play with a box
if I were
for like 3 days,
some sort of bucket from Home Depot, he'd play with that for a week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think people overdo it. That's for sure. But on this topic, we've got an Inksoft question. We're sponsored by Inksoft, and we have a question that's on this topic. And Dylan, you want to go for it?
What was your favorite Christmas present you ever got?
Oh man. That's there's so many years.
This one's super hard for me because me and Andy were talking about this before we started the episode, and we both thought of the same question to ask you, which was, "What's their favorite Christmas present?"
Well, I said,
right after I thought of that question, I was like, I have no fucking idea what my favorite Christmas present is.
Yeah, so that's a. I gotta think for a long time about all the Christmas presents I've gotten. I think the one that I can remember most recently was when I had my first shop. My dad bought me one of those 2 shelf rolling toolboxes, and that was awesome. Because I just had a little toolbox, and the shop was always messy with tools, and it was big too, so it was fun unwrapping. I was 27 or something like that. But Yeah, like that one sticks out to me. I don't know, like as a kid, like I don't remember. Like maybe that's the problem. Though. You give kids all these things.
I'll be right back. Andy, you go ahead with yours. I gotta grab something for mine, I guess.
Mine was the Atari 2600, and that's going back a long time, but I loved it. Yeah, I played. I don't know. I didn't come with a lot of games, but like that was the thing that I would do is I would save up and go buy a game for it, and yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, we got the original NES. I don't know if that was a Christmas present or not, but I don't remember that far back. But that was like a pretty cool present.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say what yours was?
Yeah, they make those now. Like they make the I
have it, the little one. Yeah, it's preloaded with like 30 games.
Yeah, exactly. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
What was your answer?
Did you just?
My answer was I got an Atari. But and I have the same one now, just like he was just talking about. You can get those preloaded with like a zillion games,
right? But because you're 85 years old, you got like the original Atari when it came out. Yeah,
the very first Atari. It was in 1940.
Yeah, you're like, my favorite was like a stick and a hoop. It was great.
That one time. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Wait, so did you just go get your favorite Christmas present?
Well, it's not a Christmas present. I need to go back on this a little bit, but I talk about my dad a lot on Instagram because my dad's here like almost every single day because he's kind of like a jack of all trades kind of guy, and like he retired like a bunch of years ago. He used to drive truck and he blew his knees out and shit, and now he can't like work, but he's always done like carpentry stuff, so he basically like fixes everything around here. Like he completely remodeled most of the building. He does like all this crazy stuff for me all the time, and growing up, he's always kind of like made me stuff. Like, I'll be like, oh, I want this thing, or I could use this thing. Or he'll be like, oh, I made you this cabinet for this stuff, or I made this or whatever. So anyway, like for my birthday this year, so this isn't a Christmas present, for my birthday, he gave me this thing that he made. And it's kind of funny because the backstory is when we were remodeling the offices next door, the building's super old, whatever. So when we were tearing all the walls out and getting everything down to the studs, I was like, masked up, like gross, grabbing shit out of the walls. A lot of the insulation was like hay and like fucking, just random shit like that. So I didn't have gloves on, and I was like pulling stuff out of the wall. One of the handfuls I pulled out of the wall was a completely mummified rat, like full rat. Grabbed it, a full hand of it, held it, and I was like, oh shit, it's a rat. So I set it on the ground, and I was like, it was crazy because it was like a complete rat, like the whole body, everything, like just mummified skin, and the tail even comes up and like curls and stuff. And we cleaned a lot of the stuff up, and I had the rat like set aside, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then one day I was over there working, and the rat was gone, and I was like, Dad, did you throw away the rat? He's like, oh yeah, I must have like picked it up and threw it in the garbage or whatever. And I was like, fuck, I kind of wanted to keep that rat. So then like, whatever, like 2 months goes by and it's my birthday and my dad hands me this present or whatever. Well, he took like random things that we like destroyed over there and like put this one gift together. So there was like an exit sign above the door that he took and made like the box and frame and the glass with. So he made the upstate rat.
What?
Oh, you can't see because of the glare.
There's so much glare. Yeah.
I know, it sucks. I don't know how I can get rid of the glare.
I mean, you
but
can
anyway,
see it.
It's a full rat, and he put sunglasses on it, and it's changed to a prison bench.
Yeah, I can see it now. Perfect.
And he made like this whole, and this is, like I said, this is the exit sign. And it's just shit like that. It's like he totally get that I would think that was amazing. So I'm gonna like keep this forever. So I think a lot of my favorite gifts are the ones that are just like real. Like somebody didn't just go to a store and they bought something off a shelf and like take it. You'll probably like this. It's like shit that's just like handmade, or they found something cool that somebody made by hand or whatever, and they're like, this is the only one that exists. Like, this is the only fucking upstate rat in the world that exists that's like chained to a table.
I gotta find it. I gotta find an upstate rat for my shop.
Well, the funny thing is he like looked the shit up online, and he's like, apparently they're rare if you can find them like fully mummified. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Chris said he found like 3 mummified like squirrels in his barn, and I was like, there's just all these crazy animals.
That's a really sick gift. and it was a great
You mean
story.
sick as in like awesome, right? Not like sick as in gross.
So sick.
It was a great gift, and it was a great story. But never give me shit about telling a long story again.
That was a perfectly good story.
It was a great story, but you know,
that's the end of it.
It wasn't a short story.
But my story didn't start with this building was constructed in 1864.
It sort
and
of
they
did.
used it did not. I was pulling insulation out of the wall, got a rat, made this thing. The fucking story's over.
Some of the insulation was hay.
Right, and some of it was a fucking entire carcass.
Well, Torrey, do you have a shop hack?
Shop hack? Yeah, I thought about this for a little while. So I got a couple like small ones. I'm sure they're not like super.
They're all cool, no matter what they are.
Yeah. So, but this is one thing that we do. We call it a screen print sheet. So like every job that we do, it's just got like this form that the printers fill out. On the backside, it's got like this thing. So it's like every head on the press, and they just go through and like we'll write down like what mesh it was, what Pantone, the flash time and temperature, the squeegee angle, and then they just file that away with the Pantones. So like every job has one of these. So I mean,
it's a paper file. It never goes into
just
like
goes
the
into
cloud or any software.
No, it goes into one of these binders full of Pellon like prints.
Okay.
I mean, we do a lot of digital stuff too, but like it's a quick because they're going to reference that when they post, especially if it's a job like we did like a year and a half ago. Like they'll just go through and find the print and then pop that in.
That's really good. I think that for the longest time there'd be a reorder here, and we're like, oh, who printed that last time, or how did you print that, or what was your print order? And we didn't have that kind of stuff.
You found out you had to like double hit the color because it looked weird.
Well, things change.
Yeah.
Like you go into the job and you think it's going to print one way, or maybe sometimes even you're going to use. And that's a big one we changed, is that our proof. Let's say it was a 2-color job and it was white, and we were using a bright red. Or whatever Pantone number you were going to use. And then it got on press and it ended up changing because of some reason. We cannot print that job until we get a new proof, until you go in to Illustrator, change your proof and, to have it be correct, and then bring that new proof out. Because what had happened is we'd change the color on press, and maybe we went a little lighter or a little darker because whatever. Then the next time around, we would go and set it up just the same way, and we'd maybe even print it wrong, print the wrong color because it changed on press. And so we made it so that you cannot print that order and you cannot print that job until you go in and print it, get a new proof out. But also, like you just said, that's a really good shop hack, and I think a lot of people should do it, is just write down, take little notes just like you just did, and whether it's on paper or we throw it in Monday, we'll just type up very quick, like, oh, did that PFP or did we not? Just like you said, a squeegee angle or print order, things like that. If it changes, then just get it somewhere.
Yeah, it also like really gets it into their mind as well. Like when they're going through and actually physically writing it all down, like then they're actually thinking about like squeegee angles and flash times and stuff like that. So it's kind of like builds into the whole process of printing anyway. They're not just like, oh yeah, we just threw on a press and we printed it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But the other thing we do here, I don't know if shops do this or not, but when we don't use spray adhesive very often, but when we do, we just like take a cardboard box and put it under the loading station, and then put a fan on top of it, and then a filter on top of that, like just a furnace filter, just there, because it just sucks all like this extra spray around it, like straight down into it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I probably stole that from someone, but
do you use anything like that for just regular lint under the press, or only when you do spray stuff?
Just spray. Yeah.
There's some shops that I know, and I looked into this for a little while. But I think most of it ended up coming from our old dryer. Cause I think I just didn't have a great like filter or exhaust system on it. And the shop always had like that, every shop has it, where it has that like fine lint on everything, and then like once a week or every couple of days you sweep it up or whatever. I think a lot of it was just from the dryer, but I know a couple shops that have those like boxes where they build like a wooden box, and then they put like an industrial fan in it, and then like two of the sides or whatever have dryer filters that you buy for like, or furnace filters.
Yeah.
And then you just like peel the lint off every so often. But a lot of the people I was talking to that have them say that most of the lint comes from when you're loading on press.
Yeah.
So like every time you're
kinda,
loading a
shake
shirt
it.
and you're going like this to like smooth it out, that lint will just build up and fall on the floor into the press.
Yeah,
So,
and we tend to like kind of snap the shirt a little bit before we put it on, you know, like that little
yeah.
whip.
You try and get some of those little boogers off of there before they end up on the back of your first screen.
Yeah.
Like I know that.
And that's one thing I found out a long time ago was that when you do that, when you load a shirt and you go to smooth it out with your hands, you should always smooth it out in the direction that the squeegee goes. Because if you go the opposite direction, you're going to have fibrillation on that print.
Right, like kind of pre-matted.
Because you're like pulling the fibers up already. And then when the print goes on, it's just going to have that rougher surface to print on. So if you're going to smooth it out, you should smooth it out the same direction the squeegee's going to print.
That's a really good shop hack.
We just do it like this. Just smooth it out real quick.
Right.
It's like you're like ruffling your nephew's hair.
Right. Well, the funny thing is we did that. We made that hothead video for M&R a little while ago. And we were trying to figure out how to get the print to look like extra shitty because we wanted it to look like extra fibery. And that's what we did. We just took a hoodie and then like took our fingernails and like roughed up the hoodie and then printed on it. And it just like came out super gross.
Yeah.
But that was for the effect for the video because it was like a Halloween thing and it was supposed to look scary. But yeah, it's the same thing on like a smaller level. If you're, going in the opposite direction, you're just pulling them all up. And then you're like, what is this like sandpaper? It's like, well, dude, every time your guy loads, he's pulling the fibers up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one. Yep.
Did you have any other ones or just those two?
No, I think that's it. I was like walking around my shop earlier.
We need 10. That's the requirement.
You have to have at least 10 tips.
All right. Stop recording. Start again next week.
Let me go figure it out. Yeah.
That's probably it.
Yeah, no, that's good. Do you have any questions for us?
Sure do.
Oh, shit, he's got a list.
I got a list, dude. Hold on. This is going to be like 3 more hours of podcast.
That's good.
The one thing that came up actually this week, which I'm kind of surprised in the past 13 years that I haven't done, is printed on Camo. And we had some like crazy dye migration with one of the colors. Have you guys done that? And like,
did it happen to be black camo?
Well, it's like classic forest. It's like 2 greens, a tan, and a black. But it's
there's
like
always that
color.
one color on Camo. I can't remember if it's the tan or it's the light green. That no matter what you print on it, it shows through.
Okay, so we even tried, like, we put like the U base down first, and then printed a white, and then printed our cream and orange and black on top of it. And it's like no matter what we did, like some of them were fine, but like a few of them they just like bled right through.
I ran into that.
Generally, we either use a blocker or we're automatically going to use poly inks, and then speed the dryer up for the poly stuff, and then that generally gets rid of it. But yeah, I feel like we always have to do some kind of blocker or poly ink when we go to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We, was it an independent? Do you know? Was it an independent hoodie?
No. It's like some weird brand I've never heard of.
I feel like I haven't had any dye issues with independent. And that's one of the reasons why we like them so much is because we have consistent results with everything. I feel like and I haven't dove into this too deep, but it makes sense. But like we were having that issue when we were doing a lot of like poly shirts for certain like races and stuff, where if you bought like a Gildan like 4000 or whatever it is, there, the poly shirt, it like bled almost every time. And then I found out from some people that said that it's like different companies dye the shirts different ways. And it depends, like the cheaper the shirt you get, the more dye issues you're going to have. Or if you get like a little bit more expensive shirt, they probably did like precautions to get it dyed a specific way where it's not going to have so much issues. So we just end up buying the better shirt now.
I think Independent's a great hoodie, and we ran into it recently. We kind of stung us. And here's why. And I went in and I looked up the hoodie, and they actually have this on SNS. They have this, it says, please note, and it's in red. And it says, when printing on our camo colorways, it is important that the garment does not reach 320 degrees when flashing or drying. Our camo colorways are a water-based print on 100% cotton fabric surfaces. At 320, you risk ink migration to your print. And so it says to be really safe, some printers use a poly blocker base or low temperature. And so what we did when we reran them, because it post-bled on us, when we reran them, we lowered our dryer to, I think, 320, so that we knew it was never going to go above 320. And we did use a barrier. and it was fine. But it sucks to learn the hard way like that, because we print on Camo with just a super poly, it's called, just super poly white without the barrier, and it usually works almost. I mean, it has in the past, and then we got stung on this particular one. So
never. That's I usually almost always on any kind of camo and on any kind of poly shirt use poly inks.
Yeah, we don't really have like dye migration issues. I mean, very rarely will we have something that comes up, but like this one stumped us pretty good.
Do you have a Sprint dryer, like a gas dryer?
No, I have a Radicure.
Okay. And what you have a Sprint, right, Dylan?
Yeah.
What do you run? What's your temp set at? Just curious.
900.
Yours is 900, and you just go fast?
The surface of the sun.
No, that's like no, that's actually like, because like that's the internal temperature of like the actual probe inside. So by the time it gets, I actually talked to Rich Hoffman about this because we were having troubles with it when we first got it, and like that's the temperature like way up inside the panel. So by the time you get down to the shirt, like it's only
right.
Like
but yours is electric.
Yeah, it's electric. Yeah,
but it's like a forced air electric where it's there's combustion in there, like there's air flow.
There's air moving, air
moving in there. But
that's like the temperature is set as like 905 or something like that.
What with that electric kind of dryer, what people like, it's usually an infrared panel, and so that's heating the surface when the shirt's going through. Right. That heat comes down and hits the surface and heats that surface of the shirt. Whereas a gas dryer, it's air, and so air is heating the surface of the shirt, not just. Correct. Because until that...
So it's going around and in and through the fabric and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think I don't know exactly what my settings are. I think it's like, I want to say it's like a minute 45. No, that can't be right. It's got to be like 45 seconds at 300 degrees, I think it is, for polys. Because it never gets to like 300. I think it gets to like 285 or 290, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm getting that 280 cure.
You're using a low cure
poly inks. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. We got to switch to a Sprint someday, but
we used to have a big brown electric dryer, and we used that for a really long time. And then I really wanted to get gas because that's when we first started getting into water-based stuff. And then, I never realized, I just thought I was always going to have a high electric bill because my electric bill was fucking crazy. And then we switched over to gas and I was like, holy shit, my electric bill is like $800 now, where it was like $3,000. And I was like, God, I was spending so much money on electric for that dryer. And then now that we use gas, we use propane because there's no natural gas here. And I'm only spending like $100 a week on propane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
we got to switch that at some point.
So much better.
Yeah. I mean, this one's pretty old. I mean, when I bought it, I had just one auto, so it's working.
Mm-hmm.
But the next one we get will be a split belt. I think that's what you just got, right?
Yeah, we love it. It's so much better.
Yeah,
it's just the headache of not having to schedule both presses to be like, oh, well, he's doing poly, so we can't do anything unless we do a poly job on the other press, or he's doing water base, or, now it's like they just have recipes where it's like one press is doing water base, one press is doing plastisol, hit the button, and they just keep going. So it's the best thing I could have done by far.
Yeah. No, we have to like raise the panels up for hoodies. I crank them up.
Yeah. I don't have to do any of that.
Yep.
Good question.
Let's see. What else we got here?
1 of 35.
Yeah. How many hours do you guys have left to hang out with me? This is like a quick one that I don't know. I didn't look around too hard, but who does the Sure Show theme song?
Chad.
Yeah, Chad.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knows about Chad.
Yeah, you guys got to give Chad some credit. Like every end of every episode, like, thanks, Chad.
Hey, thanks, Chad.
Yeah, you don't have to say like why. Just say thanks, Chad. Yeah.
Andy, give him a little story on Chad, I guess. Let's talk about Chad.
So Chad started here, I don't know, like 6-7 years ago. And he started in as a press assistant, and then I think, or maybe he was a press operator. He had come from like one of those franchises, like Instant Prints or something like that. Have you ever heard of those? It's like I think they do like paper printing, embroidery, screen printing, kind of almost like a Kinko's or whatever. but it's a franchise. Or Embroider Me. You've heard of that, right?
I've heard Embroider Me, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So he used to work there. Started working here, and we had an interest in marketing, and so I guess it was maybe last year he started. I would collab with him on Instagram story and stuff like that, because we didn't really ever do story. I was like, man, I just don't have enough time for story, and I need some help with with doing that. And so we'd come up with ideas, and we'd collab on that, and then it turned to him coming completely off press and working on Shirt Show, and also Instagram story for us. He doesn't work here full time anymore because he works with his wife is a photographer, and he does that. So he's just part time here, and he's also in a band called Hard Loss.
His band's good too.
Yeah.
You guys should go check it out.
So he I think we were messing around with different theme songs, and then there it was, and he played it. He sent it to you and me.
The best part about it was the first one. Well, it was the first one I heard.
It was awesome, and then we wanted it, and that was the intro, and then we wanted an outro, and I was like, man, it has to be so the intro, we're hyped, we're all amped, and we're going in strong, and then the outro, it was more like chill, just hey, now we're done, and now it's time to go to bed.
Best part is I didn't know that existed until a couple weeks ago.
What's that?
The outro.
Are you serious?
Yeah. A lot of times when I won't listen to the episode again, I fucking lived it. I don't need to listen to it. And then once in a while I get in the car or something. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to just listen to one just to go back through and hear it. And then I get 80% of the way through, and I'm like, I know how this ends. And I just
keep expecting that music to start playing while we're talking. It's like when they turn the music on for an Emmy speech.
We just want to get rid of you. We just start playing in the middle.
Well, I got more questions.
Well, so it's an acoustic outro that seems pretty chill, and he did that one too. And then he produces, so he'll do on Fridays, we come out with the teaser about what episode's coming on Monday. And so he puts that together that tries to make Dylan look stupid and me smart.
Dude,
and
this is a real thing. I hope that Chad's going to edit this shit out too. But every episode, because Chad works for Andy, every time there's a clip or anything, they always try to make me out to be an asshole or dumb or whatever. It's always focused to be that Shirt Kong's better and Dylan's an asshole. So just so everybody knows, it's propaganda.
Yeah, I like
really true.
I like the 1-800 number from.
Dude, I laughed so fucking hard.
I rewound it 4 times.
I did too. Not trying to fluff myself up, but I fucking watched that, and I was Andy's and your dad, and it just kept going. I was like, fucking A. I laughed so hard at that. Oh, that's the best part though too. Is the pre-games are literally just me and Andy talking to each other about our week before we start this, because we haven't talked most of the week. And then Chad goes in and adds all these little types at the bottom or zoom ins and stuff. And it's just
what's weird is that
when we go back and watch them, we laugh so hard.
What's weird though is when we're doing, when we sign in and we start getting ready and prepping to, do this, I forget that we're even recording. You know what I mean? And I'll say something oh yeah, I guess that's on there. Oh shit. That's being recorded. I shouldn't have said that.
The best part is a lot of them are me saying that's what she said, or us just talking about something that's probably inappropriate. And then we find out if Chad wants to take it out or not, or if he wants to leave it in. So no, they're always fun, because we usually talk for 20 minutes before a show starts, and he dwindles it down to 3 minutes or whatever it is. But
yeah, I tried getting in early to be part of the pregame, but it didn't work.
We actually saw you were in, and we're like, fuck it, let's just keep talking about Christmas movies.
Yeah, I was just sitting in my chair twirling, waiting.
Well, I haven't talked a whole lot all day. I was driving even on my commute here, I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to this podcast, or I'm going to listen to music. And I just kept it kept it quiet as I was driving here. And I drove past the soccer fields, and there was 1,000 people playing soccer, which they should be doing. It's outside, and they're getting exercise, right? But this is part of the story that you don't want to hear.
Keep going.
So it's so good when I finally do get here and I turn everything on, is to start talking, and you're just like, get it going, get the juices flowing. So
yeah, it's nice to just bullshit with each other.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the jingle or the ending of the thing. I don't know if either of you have ever watched it, but I'm like pretty deep into watching West Wing right now on Netflix. And there's 7 seasons of it. Have either of you ever watched West Wing?
No. I haven't. No.
All right. So anyway, it's about the West Wing at the White House or whatever. And it's an older show, but I like it a lot. It's one of those shows I can turn on at the end of the day and just unwind and just watch it no matter what happens. But the funniest part about that show to me is at the end, something almost every episode's serious happens. They'll be oh, there's a bombing in Kuwait or something, and all this stuff, and everybody's sad. And then as soon as the episode ends and the credits come up, it's this happy flute playing. It's it makes no sense. It's it goes from everybody died, it's the worst thing ever, and then the credits are just it's just so funny because it takes your mood because you're into the show and you're like, oh man, I feel bad for these people. And then it just immediately fucking ramps hard. And you guys have no idea what I'm talking about because you've never watched the show.
Solid happy times. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just funny. So
next question.
Number 3.
So I got a quick rapid fire and then one kind of longer question.
Okay. Do it.
You want to do the rapid fire? So it's only 8 or 6 or something. You ready?
Okay.
Are you guys gonna each answer and then I'll move on to the next one?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's up to you, or we can take turns.
No, just both answer.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Andy has to go first in everyone though, so we don't get confused.
That sucks.
Okay. Don't ask to go first in everyone. Okay, ready? Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Coffee.
Step by Step or Family Matters?
Family Matters.
Neither.
No, this is one or the other. You have to pick one. You're ruining my flow.
I don't know what either of them are. So I'm assuming a TV
just
show.
Say NA. Just say NA.
Yeah. NA.
All right. Taco or burger?
Taco.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Pancakes.
Randy. Andy, he said rapid fire.
Rapid. Don't think about it. Just answer. All right. Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin?
Led Zeppelin.
Zap.
Checkers or chess?
Checkers. I don't know how to play chess.
Chess.
You obviously do.
And then Office or Parks and Rec?
Neither. NA.
Both, but Parks and Rec. I mean, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, sir. No, go ahead.
I watched The Office, of course, but I mean, Parks and Rec is just, for me anyway, it's hilarious.
I can't stand either of those shows.
Oh man, I love The Office. That's my number one. Just throw it on the background while I'm cooking.
I just can't get. I've had this conversation a million times in my life because everybody's like, "You like The Office?" I'm just I can't get into there's just the shit they do gives me anxiety. It's there's no way people are that dumb. And it's just I know it's a comedy and you're supposed to get into it, but I can't get into stuff unless it's believable for me. And
I didn't like the last few seasons. So I like The Office maybe earlier on or midway through.
Which is probably why I'm watching West Wing and you guys are watching The Office.
Yeah. I mean, the second part of the series is almost a different show. You kind of have to the Steve Carell version and then the Andy version.
Yeah. So doesn't he leave or something like that?
Steve, he just goes to Colorado or something.
Cool story. So I went to LA to Long Beach once, and we were there. We stayed longer, and we got tickets to Conan. So you can apply for that night or whatever, and they say you have to answer a few questions, and then you show up in a parking garage, and then we waited for what seemed forever, probably 6 hours, literally in a parking garage. And a food truck came and we got lunch and stuff like that. But then we finally got into the taping, and it was James Franco, a band, I can't remember who, and then somebody else. And then he said, "Oh, hey." So, and Conan came out and he's like, "Hey, so we have this special guest. and he's here for just a few minutes, but we're going to show him, we're going to tape it now, but it's going to be for the following night. And so when he comes out, introduce him, just pretend like it's a surprise or whatever. And so he comes out and it was Steve Carell. It was so cool.
Nice.
Everybody freaked out. And it's a really small studio. And so I don't know if maybe there were 400, 300 people there. But yeah, so I met him, and then we hung out went to dinner, and I wish that didn't happen. But did you have, what other questions did you have?
Okay. So I got one more. I'm like obviously super thankful for like the shop that I built and stuff, but like how close to like your dream shop is your current shop?
Now? I've said that a few times. I think I finally, I feel like it's hard to say that because there's always something you can get or always something you can improve on. But like my dream from the beginning of like what I wanted press wise and employee wise and building wise and everything, I feel like I got that now from what I had set in my mind of like, this is how I'm going to build a shop. This is the kind of presses I'm going to get. Like a couple of years ago, I was like, man, it'd be fucking awesome to have like a Gauntlet 3 and a split belt and, my own office and all this other stuff. Like you think in your mind, man, that'd be fucking awesome to get. And then I had that now. So I'm like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. So I'm just like kind of chilling at the moment. Like I have no lofty goals. Like I need to literally think of a whole new set of like, this is what I want to do next. It's like, I finally got to where I'm like, I'm just happy right now and I kind of want to ride it out. So
yeah. I mean, you got your own building though. You can just kind of do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Probably to an extent, but
yeah. That's my problem now is that, like I said, I got everything I wanted and now I'm realizing that everything I wanted is fucking massive. So that's the one thing I wish I had. And even though I own my own building, I just wish I had a little bit more space in like shipping and receiving, or like I said, the office space. I was like, I could really use some more office. So that's why we built like all new offices. So I think like next year or the year after, we're going to add like 40 feet to the end of the building to like have a whole new shipping and receiving section. Cause like I own the building, but I also own land. Like I own land on both sides of the building. So I'm like, I'm just going to make it bigger on one side.
Yeah.
For the actual shop. But like I said, as far as equipment and people and everything, I'm pretty stoked where we're at right now.
Yeah. Nice.
My turn.
Your turn.
I would say,
Andy wants to retire. That's where he's at.
That's not true. I do want to retire someday. I think that I'm not sure what that retirement will mean. Like if I'm completely walking away from screen printing, because I doubt that. Because
we figured this out. You were going to get a 10-color manual on the beach.
Oh yeah. And I'm printing just a word.
Right.
That's it. It's whatever beach it is. That's the word.
Right.
And it's that, one color. I think though, that's a great question. I'd say that I'll probably never be content. Like there's always something I want to work on. Some whether it's a piece of equipment I want to swap out, or this will function better this way or that way or whatever. Like looking at your ink wall, I need to change. We've wanted to change our ink department for over a year, but there's been other things that we've had to do first. I
think for you it'd be weird. I don't know where you would put your inks because you kind of have like shelves in the middle of a room.
Yeah, I'd have to move it completely from where it's at, but we could find a spot that it would function better. That's for sure. But I would say like this whole thing has been always, I'm happy though. Like what Dylan said now is a great answer because, even in 2010, I was like, it was the greatest, like there was a dream, to have a shop, it's like, even though it's not perfect or far from it, having a shop is kick ass, like it's, so I would say the answer is like
the dream. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a dream. You're living the dream. It's not a joke. People say, oh, you're living the dream, like sarcastically, but I'm always like, I don't know. It's not supposed to be easy. I mean, owning your own business is probably the hardest thing you can do career wise. I mean, I'm not trying to diminish what it's like to be a doctor or anything else like that, but I feel
like at this point, we're all just beat down to a certain degree that we're okay with like the day-to-day bullshit. And we're above that now. You know what I mean?
I think
like,
it jades you in some ways. For a while there, I was just like you said, being beat down. I was pretty negative about some things because like, man, it's just like people are relentless, and whether it's customers or employees or whatever it is, it's fucking hard, right? And you'd go home sometimes. I would leave here and say, fuck that. I just can't do this, like there's just no way. Good thing is you go to bed, you wake up and you're like, I'm going to do this. And so I would say that now is a great answer because it's always, my dream, but it's never perfect. Like there's 1,000 things I need to do to it or want to do to it. And, but we're way closer, it's like Dylan said, he's wanted this equipment or this space or whatever. We're way closer now than I was,
right. Yeah.
to being where I want to be, but I don't know. It's,
I mean, there's still things that are just like, you need to, like I said, there's still always going to be things you need to figure out or you want to stay. Like, I can't say now I'm like happy I'm going to stay exactly here because there's always going to be new technologies or new inks or new whatever. But it's just like with what I've got, I'm happy right now. And then in 5 to 10 years, they come out with new shit. I'll swap this stuff out and get the new shit and constantly keep growing. That's why we love doing the podcast, is because we learn stuff every episode from somebody. Somebody's always got something that makes us go like, oh, fuck, I need to change that in my own shop. Mm-hmm. Like I've done that for all these episodes. I've learned something almost every episode that I'm like, fuck, I need to like buy this or get into this or do this. And it's like, I feel like weekly now I'm like getting something or changing something or tweaking a method or something just because, somebody said something and I'm like, oh, fuck, that makes total sense.
I guess, to add to that is like, I have everything I want, I have everything I want in life and I have everything I want here. I don't want or need to be bigger, so like more volume, more employees, more presses or anything like that. Like I'm happy with whatever we have now. Even if we were like flat, we had zero growth for the rest of Shirt Kong's existence. That's okay. I think you have to do something to maintain that. Jeff, I don't think if you do nothing, I think it'll fall off. Although we do have great word of mouth, like you said, that's how you grow or you get a lot of your business now is through word of mouth. And we experience, daily, even from years and years ago, I'll get an email from 5 years ago. Somebody say, hey, that I did work for 5 years ago. I say, hey, I was, I need some shirts. And they told me to call you, Andy, the shirt guy, and so word of mouth is awesome, but we don't have to grow. I don't have to do that. And the
more you grow, the more headaches you have too.
I think sometimes that's true. And I think that, I'm happy. I'm happy when I get here. I'm happy with the team that I get to work with every day. And I'm happy with the equipment that I have. And like you said, I'll always be changing something out or to try and be more efficient or better or whatever. But man, that's a long answer. But
I feel like some people are just built different ways. You know what I mean? I feel like me and Andy are very similar with like what we want to produce and what we want to, have the shop be like is like, we just want to put out the best quality we can get at the most efficiency and then have whatever we're producing grow our normal lives, like what we're doing. But I feel like there's some shops that we know and even friends of ours that are just like constantly fucking like trying to get the next thing or more of this or more employees or more presses. And it's just like, when I see these stories of them doing this, I'm just like, why? What are you getting from this? It's just more time away from home. It's more headaches. It's more fucking, you're going to drop dead of a heart attack. Like, what are you doing? Like, I get that you just want to grow your business because it's that like monopoly thing where you're just like, I own all this.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. It's just not for me. Like, I don't want to knock them because fuck yeah. Like if you can make it awesome and bigger and have a crazy big company. But for me, it's just like, dude, that's too much. Like I said, I'm comfy. Like right now I'm comfy. Like my bills are paid. I get here. Employees are happy. We're producing cool shit. I just want to be able to kick back at my desk and be like, let's just, all the systems work. Everything's good.
Just want to kick back and watch YouTube videos.
Right. I'm not thinking about every day, like, how do I get 4 more presses? Or how am I a marketing mastermind and I'm going to try to like get money out of people? It's like, I just want more cool artists to come through. That's my goal is I just want more cool stuff to where everybody who's here is like, man, I would fucking love to print that. Or I would love to figure out how to print that.
Yeah.
How about you, Torrey?
I mean, I'm probably pretty much on the same page as you guys. I mean, like the shop is great. There's a few pieces of equipment that I still would like. Like I don't have a CTS yet.
Gotta do it, man.
I know. I every time I listen to one of these episodes, fuck, I gotta go get CTS. I'll probably do that next year. And like my dryer's getting kind of old, so like that's got to get swapped out. And then there's a little bit of more stuff in the embroidery department that we got to build out. But as far as like I have a killer staff that I love hanging out with. You know, my shop is like big and bright and full of stuff, and like we're doing great work for really awesome people. But then there's like things like I would love to like have my own building that I can either build myself or, you know, be able to like take down walls and, you know, move to wherever we want to. But you know, overall, like I'm like super satisfied with where we're at and where we've come from. You know, like my first shop was like basically a garage. And I just had like the manual and the dryer and like 4 buckets of ink. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. That was like my dream shop right there, you know? And then I like almost broke myself printing manually for 5 years. And then the next goal was like, okay, now I just need to get an auto. And then, you know, that was like, now it's the dream shop. And, you know, like I'm just like, keep kind of meeting these goals, which is amazing. But like you said, like the goals kind of are constantly changing, and there's like always something new to try to strive to get. But you know, just got to try to be thankful for what I have. And, you know,
yeah.
I didn't know
that's
that.
The biggest thing that everybody should take away from this is they just need to like actually like sit down and think about what they want or what do they want to achieve or where they want to be in life. Like, I think you should just figure that out and then try to get there and then just like hit cruise control until new technologies and new stuff come out. I just don't overexert yourself. But like I said, that's me. Like other people have their own things. So
right. Yeah.
Whatever. You want to hit those quick takes?
Yeah. But right before I do that, I was going to say, I did not know you worked with your wife, and had we known, we did like, we used to do the husband wife episodes. We did one with, Katoon Fabric.
I have and, 2 Lindas now too. So I can bring those back. My blow up doll.
Oh, yeah.
I was like a blank stare. I was like,
I forgot her name was Linda.
I got the one that I did for that episode, and then someone gifted me another one. So now I have 2 of them.
Isn't that crazy though? How many shops is a husband and wife? Because it's you. I remember Barrel Maker. Oh, they used to be. Phil isn't husband and wife, but boyfriend, girlfriend. There's
a lot of them. I mean, I get it, but for me, it would never work out. I actually had my wife work for me for like a week, and I was like, "Fuck this! We're not doing this every day." And then,
we started it together, so like it was
right. No, that's what I mean. It makes sense if it's both your passion. It's just it's not for us. Like printing in this industry and everything is my passion, and she has her own complete passion. So like they just don't go together. Like she has her own way of doing things.
I thought you were building out part of that building for her shop. Yeah. Yep. Which is her passion.
Right. So she's going to have a craft store. So like when we redid the offices, I took over for the new offices. I took over like 40 by 40, I think, for the new office. And then she has 40 by 24 right after that, where it's going to be her own whole craft store. The nice thing about that for her is, like I said, is the building's paid off. So like she has, and it's funny, like watching her start to build a business because she does a lot online and she's doing really great at it right now. But it's funny, like she has no struggle with the building or her rent. She's never going to have to pay rent.
Well, you should charge her
electric.
You should hammer her with rent and electric.
Okay. There's no fucking way. So yeah, no internet, no electric, no heat, no, she just has a place. I was like, you could literally just have a store full of stuff and sit here every day and not have a single customer and nothing's going to happen to you.
Just break even.
Right. Like you can do whatever. It's all pure profit. But the best part about it is if she does really awesome and sells a ton of stuff, I'm never going to see any of that money.
Well, I don't know. His quick takes, her hot takes were better than ours. So maybe we just
hot takes.
Oh, that's what you call them, hot
rapid
takes.
fire. He had some
Rapid
rapid fire
fire.
questions, but yeah. So maybe we just go with what's for dinner.
Oh man, I don't know. I really enjoy cooking, and I always have. But this year, man, I just like between like being stuck at home and like cooking a lot more, and like the kids being in and out of school, and like being super busy. Like I've just like lost that. Like I still like the cooking aspect, but the planning part of it has been such a bummer. So I don't actually know. I was at my parents' today for my dad's birthday. We had a little fire outside and we had pizza up there. So probably leftovers. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever's in the fridge.
I've been doing a lot of cooking recently too. And like, I feel like I'm getting to the age and the point where I'm going to start definitely like dad cooking, like my dad is super into like barbecue and stuff. Like his whole backyard is all dedicated to like barbecue. It's like he has his own huge like smoker area. He has like pizza oven. Like it's just all fucking like classic dadded out. And like I'm like slowly getting there too, where like now I'm cooking like steaks in a cast iron pan with like butter. And I'm like, I just got a smoker this year. So I want to start doing like briskets and stuff. And like I grill a ton in the summertime. So, and like right before I came here, I made like a big meatloaf and mashed potatoes and corn and gravy and stuff. So I'll probably end up having more of that when I get home, but I just ate a ton of it before I got here and I felt like shit because I like definitely overate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's a heavy meal too. It's great, but it's a heavy meal.
Yeah. What are you eating, Andy? Chili?
No, we're not doing chili this week. We are making homemade pizza, kind of a homemade pizza. We don't make the crust, but we make the rest.
So this is the same thing you had last week, right?
Got to make the crust. Got to make the crust.
Well, I don't know how to make the crust. You mean like make the crust from scratch, or buy dough at Trader Joe's?
No, like make the dough from scratch. It's super easy. It's just like 3 cups of flour, and then a couple cups of water until it gets the right consistency, and then you just let it fucking sit for a while.
Okay.
I mean, there's a little more than that, but once you nail it,
he just awesome. Brought pizza places from here to here. He's like, oh, it's super fucking
it's
easy. Just like throw some flour in a fucking bowl and put some water on it. You can have fucking pizza.
Just mush it with your hands until it gets doughy and then leave it on the counter.
This guy's over here like fucking multa belly, like throwing shit in the air. He's like, oh, it's just flour and water. I don't know.
That seems too hard. That seems too hard. I like just have the dough and boom, I can take it from there.
Because you're just all you're doing is pouring sauce on it and putting cheese on it, and you're like,
no, it's a little more complicated than that. Mine are.
Okay, so you don't stretch it. Do you stretch it?
No, I got it at Target.
I was like,
Target.
The worst place for you to be like, I bought
not
it.
Not the worst place. Target has some pretty good food section. So it's like
grab my pizza dough at Quick Trip. And
just like buy a frozen pizza and scrape the toppings off and put new toppings back on top.
That's the way
I've actually heard Joanne say that you guys take a lot of like shit frozen pizzas and put like Parmesan and like extra toppings on and make it way better. So
not shit frozen pizzas, but yeah, we have taken some good frozen pizzas and then doctor them up a little bit, a little fancier. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, so that's what we're having.
All right. So the shirts I sent you guys, it's a Squeegee Burger design, but those were the first shirts that came off Cobra.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, not like you need another T-shirt, but I figured why not?
No, we do.
Yeah,
we do.
Well, I bought a bunch already, so
it's true. Yeah, you had some.
Well, thanks for doing the episode, man. We were really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's I don't get to like chat shop very often, so it's nice to have someone who understands like what I do every day.
Yeah, well, that's our thing. It's nice. It's like I said, it's hard to do this weekly, and we've had this conversation before. But it's that, like I said, it's that meme of the dude from Narcos, like on the swing, and nobody's out there. He's like, nobody at the party wanted to talk about screen printing.
Yeah,
that's our getaway to do this. So. We appreciate you doing with us.
Yeah, and thanks for talking to us. Congrats on the Cobra. Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Dylan will ship you a broken mug. It'll look like this, but it'll be in like, I don't know,
a couple
5 pieces. Yeah.
Just throw super glue in the box, just so it's ready.
I will. Yeah.
And then ship him a proper mug, if you would, just teach him how we.
I have one. It's right
I
here.
shipped it. It made it to him.
Oh yeah,
right there.
and it didn't break. Forgot about that.
I got this a long time ago.
What's in there? Creamer?
Back when you did, and we got to say proper thanks for doing the picture of me and Andy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the gross portraits. I know.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I no joke I have the art file that you sent me of that, and I'm going to make a print of it, and I'm going to have it behind my desk when I get my new office, so that when I do these podcasts, it's right behind me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It'll be there. Just be aware.
All right.
All right, man. Enjoy your Sunday.
Yeah. Thanks. I look forward to being your first repeat guest. So.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right. See you, man.
All right. See you.
there.